Welcome to the football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff and Tam McManus are here with me. Thank you very much to you for showing your support. The figures are absolutely fantastic for our content right across all our social media. And if you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, you can join the football family, as many are doing day by day, week by week, and we are really delighted that you have taken your time out to watch it, sometimes live and at your own leisure time as well. So with that in mind, let's look at what's coming up. We're going to look over the weekend SPFL fixtures spreading over Saturday and Sunday. As you can see, there's Celtic against Dundee United, Dundee, Aberdeen, Kilmarnock, St Johnstone, Motherwell, Ross County, Hearts against Rangers, and St Mirren against Hibernian. There's lots to talk about, including, of course, Philippe Clement. We'll hear from him shortly. He's not busy worrying about his position. Should he be worried about his position? Give us your thoughts on that. Celtic looking to go 16 points clear at the top of the table before Rangers play Hearts at Tynecastle. And there's a new plan for Scotland's young players. We'll discuss that as well. But as you're aware, the weekend's football to look forward to. Just before we get into the whole Premier League over Saturday and Sunday, I thought I'd get your thoughts, guys, on the performance in Europe in midweek of Celtic. In the end, 2-1 was the scoreline. It was, I think all of us kind of predicted that Bayern Munich would win in the end. Ruffy, it's a tough call for Celtic now. I think they know they've reached their ceiling point.
Yeah, I think it was a credible performance the other night. I thought the second goal for Kane was poor defending. I thought they dominated the most of the first half. I think Celtic came into the game in the last 20 minutes, which obviously on any given night isn't good enough against a team like that. They got the goal that lifted the players, the stadium, everything, you know, and that's what the Celtic support were looking for. I don't get the confidence or some of the quotes that are coming out. We're still in this game. You know, I think history has told that away from home, Celtic find it difficult against top class teams to win. So keeping everybody together, keeping the players together, keeping the supporters together, I can't see it.
Yeah, I mean, what a start, Tam. I mean, it was a great start for them.
Yeah, it was, and a little bit unfortunate that obviously Ida kind of ran across and was offside, but you know that could have changed the game. You know, Celtic getting that goal open in a few minutes could have changed the dynamics of the game. But I think you've seen how good Bayern were in the first half an hour, 45 minutes. They were superb, they controlled the game. You know, Celtic defended really well, sat in, and then second half, I think when Bayern went 2-0, I think they stopped kind of high pressing Celtic. I think they just let Celtic have the ball. They thought, well, the job's half done, and Celtic did come back into the game. So I do think that, you know, obviously the comments coming out of, you know, we're going over there to give it everything, and you know the tie's still alive. But I think if Celtic can get out of Munich, you know, with their pride intact, I think they'll take it. You know, Bayern are levels ahead of Celtic. But I think you can see on the night that Celtic are definitely improving in Europe. And I think that's the main thing that the supporters want to see, Peter. Celtic getting better, and I think this season they've definitely proved that they are better in Europe.
Yeah, I think the manager himself will look at the overall result and say to himself, well, listen, that's exactly what I was brought back for. Get Celtic to a knockout stage. I agree with Tam on this. I think going to the Allianz Arena is the place where you could be on the end of a hammering.
Yeah, well, again, it shows, you know, the way he's going to set up his team. You know, we saw in Atlanta, they can defend when they want to defend. If he goes and tries to be gung-ho and leaves it an open game, I can't see Celtic getting in out of that. But they'll go there, as Tam says, put in a good performance, let everybody in Europe know that Celtic are not back where they should be, but they are competing against top teams. But it's going to be a long 90 minutes for them.
Yeah,
I thought they should have had a penalty.
Yeah, so did I. I thought it was a penalty.
Yeah, I thought it was
I think
a penalty.
the touch on the ball, Tam, is where they kind of ruled it out. But I thought that was harsh because we've seen touches on the ball before, and then some kind of follow-through foul that was awarded.
Yeah, I think you see that. You know, if it's a dangerous tackle, I think it was quite high, and it would obviously come down on the top of his foot. I thought it was a penalty as well. I thought he did. You know, you could argue he did win the ball, but his follow through does catch angles high up in, you know, lower shin area. So I thought Celtic were unlucky not to get that. But I think Celtic showed in the last 15-20 minutes that they're a fit team. They finished strongly against Munich, and Munich were, I wouldn't say hanging on at the end, but I think they were quite happy when full time went. But it's a totally different game in Munich. You know, Bayern will dominate the ball, and then Celtic will need to sit in and try and play in the counter.
Yeah, thanks to so many of you for joining us on the programme and offering your opinion as well. Kenny says Celtic did well, Bayern are a different class. And of course, Kenny's a big Aberdeen fan. He says only Aberdeen can beat Bayern Munich, which is fair, which is fair comment. And Nicholas, well, I'm sure that's not his real name. The only thing Celtic will get out of visiting Munich will be a fine due to their toxic support. That's a little bit harsh, Nicholas, to be perfectly honest with you. Of course, what he's alluding to is the fact that they put up a banner saying "Show Israel the red card." Now, again, I try to emphasise this without some people who have selective hearing and don't hear properly. People can have their opinion. Whether that's right to use Celtic as a platform for that opinion is open to debate. The only thing that we are debating, Ruffy, and highlighting is the fact that the Celtic fans need to stop what they're doing because it breaks UEFA rules.
Basically, that's it. You know, it's in the rulebook. No political statements, no taking sides of what's happening anywhere else in the world. It's there in black and white, being warned again on numerous occasions, but a small element just think they're untouchable, you know, and again, it's going to be, something's going to happen again, whether it's just a fine or whatever, you know, but again, it's something against the club. Instead of talking about the football side, we're talking about that side.
Yeah, and I like this line. I'm going to read it out anyway because it's a real good kick in the teeth for me, Tam, and you've already read it, haven't you?
I haven't.
No, it's Paul Brady who says it was a decent performance against Bayern. Pity you weren't there, Peter. Oh, that's right, you were in Liverpool getting hospitality for your big pal Moisey. You should have a good look at yourself.
Absolutely bang on.
He's absolutely
bang on.
Well, you're up. Listen, Paul, you're 100% correct. I take it. I'm taking it full in the face from you for that, but I wasn't banned from Goodison. Anyway, apart from anything else, just one other little footnote to it all is Kane. I mean, at the best of times, they left him on his own for one shot that he could have scored. He was offside for a header, and then they leave him at the back post, Ruffy. I mean, it was just, it beggars belief.
Beggars belief, because obviously pre-match you go through these kind of things, who you're picking up at corners, you know, and I'm sure somebody at some stage said, you better watch that boy Kane, you know, and I don't know who's designated to be in the area that he's in, but certainly there was nobody in the area it was in, whether that's good movement for him or just bad defending for Celtic, but certainly it was a clinical finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary Connor says, Chris Sutton said it wasn't a penalty. So what? Everybody's entitled to their opinion on it. Everybody's got their say on it. And remember, Chris is not the light, the way, and the truth on all issues. Everybody has their opinion on it. I mean, I think one of the former Bayern Munich players reckons that they got away with one with that decision. What do you think of it? Do you think it was a penalty? Anyway, that's how it looks in the European front for Celtic. And of course, it looks as if Tam Fenerbahce could be in the box seat to face Rangers in the Europa League after a 3-0 win over Anderlecht.
Yeah, the special one, Jose Mourinho. You know, and he's obviously on Fenerbahce now, and I had a look at their squad last night. They've got a lot of talented players. You know, a lot of big money buys in their team. That'll be a tough one for Rangers. But I think, you know, it's a game that Rangers will feel confident they can progress in. I think they've beat better teams than Fenerbahce over the years in a two-legged game. So yeah, it looks like Fenerbahce, and that's something that the Rangers supporters will be looking forward to. I think if it's away from home first, to try and stay in the game over there and you take care of them, because Turkish teams, Greek teams, Cypriot teams, I'm not sure they're the best travellers away from home.
Well, the one thing Rangers have been receiving praise for is some of their performances in Europe, and of course they got into that top 8 that allowed them to avoid a knockout phase match, and they likely will face Fenerbahce. But as for the manager, it looks as if it's a kind of a game-by-game feel about it now after being dramatically knocked out of the Scottish Cup by Queen's Park. And now, with a growing number of Rangers supporters unhappy that he's still the manager, Philippe Clement was out with all guns blazing today and saying that he's not obsessed or worried or constantly looking and busying himself about a potential sacking.
No, I'm not busy with that. With what's because the board, there is a lot of people here in the club who are all over the world. I'm in contact with Patrick. We had a talk about the game, over the game, about the game, after the game, like we always do, and it was in the same way as before. And of course, I was also frustrated, devastated after the result. I was frustrated to be on the sideline during that game. You get that amount of chances, and one moment you want to run on the field to shoot the ball yourself into the goal. But that's not my job to do. So it's about picking up the team again.
Well, I think the general feeling right now, as you see every figure that's quoted, Ruffy, is it's going to cost £1.2 million to sack him. You have a group of Rangers supporters and a number of people voicing their displeasure that he's there after such an embarrassing result. But I think the general feeling among most people in the media is that they just can't afford to sack him right now. Although Patrick Stewart and I think most of the board would dispute that if indeed there is a breaking point. Is breaking point Tynecastle?
I think breaking point is Tynecastle if it's a bad defeat, a poor performance for Rangers yet again. The Rangers supporters will go there looking for some kind of response. But I think if they do get beat, I'm talking about maybe a 2-0 or something like that, I think that could be it. I really do. I don't think he can survive any more of these ups and downs. We're 2 months ago, we're back to where we are now, just one result away from it, and I think the board have stuck up for him enough, saying that the money's not the problem here. So I really do think he's a bad result away from losing his job.
2-0?
Yep.
Yeah. Tam, you won't be privy to this, but I think maybe 5 or 6, possibly longer, years ago, Ruffy came on. It was one of those days, you know how sometimes he comes in and he's really hard-hitting? Ruffy came in...
Those days are few and far between.
Yeah, well, they are now, yes. But he came in and basically said, if Gordon Strachan loses 3-0 to England, then, you know, that's it, game over, it's time he was sacked. And then on the next show... just suddenly cowering and saying Gordon's my mate, he shouldn't get sacked, he should give him more time.
That was when Scotland did get beat 3-0.
Yes, yeah. So, I mean...
Changed the opinion over the...
It's incredible. I mean, it was a complete U-turn. I mean, he couldn't have been in any Conservative government in the 1980s, but it was a massive U-turn. And basically, it's a 2-0 defeat. Is a 2-0 defeat for you or any defeat?
Yeah. Yeah, listen, it's... I think... There was a period 2 or 3 weeks ago, Peter, where a lot of the fans were starting to get behind him again. I think following on from the result against Celtic, a couple of bad results over Christmas, but then obviously great result in Europe, and things were starting to turn for Philippe Clement. But I think now 95% of Rangers fans want rid of him, and I think that's a large percentage to turn around now. The club itself will have to make a decision at some point. Season tickets are up for sale, at the end of the season, and they need that money in. So. I think any sort of, if they don't win Rangers, I think they'll pull the trigger on them. I think they've got to keep winning games, they've got to keep doing well in Europe, or maybe it's a case of no matter what he's going to be there. Maybe the board have made a decision that no matter what he's going to be there.
What's the crowd ratio tomorrow at Tynecastle? Do you know how many Rangers supporters are allowed?
I would imagine
they'll have a corner.
3,000.
No, I don't think they get the full stand. I don't think
not?
So. I think they'll get the wee
1,700.
Something like maybe even less.
Yeah. The one thing I was going to say to you on it, and I agree with you, Tam, I don't know if I agree wholeheartedly with you. I think he'll be given till the end of the season.
I think so, I think no matter what.
I think he's here no matter what happens. Because Celtic can increase their advantage, put the pressure on him. I think he could lose that game and still survive. I think there will be protests if they lose the game. But I think he's quite simply in there because the season ticket renewals haven't come in, Ruffy. Now, the board are adamant that they're not in any way guided by the financial state of the club, and you have to take them at their word. But I wonder, down through the years, we've always been sceptical of what boards and chairmen and chief executives say. I wonder if they're going to stay with them to the end of the season and then weigh up the overall assessment rather than a knee-jerk which leaves them with an interim boss and then the search for a new manager. It's a lot of money to shell out.
Yeah, if the money isn't a problem, I would say Europe's his saving grace. He's taken the club into Europe. Obviously, Fenerbahce, if it is Fenerbahce, knock them out. There's nothing. There's nothing else. I think you're better... If you're going to bin him at the end of the season, you're better binning him now and bringing somebody in and having a right good look at who's out there. get somebody in fresh who's going to start at the beginning of the season. Because always see it, if we leave it to the end of the season, the end of May, June, you're scampering about. I mean, Celtic did it when they were looking for their manager. They found it hard to get the right guy in and hung about. So I think you've got to give yourself enough time to get the right man in. And if they're not in Europe and there's nothing else to play for, why not do it then?
Yeah, they face a Hearts side unbeaten in 8, and at the training today was our man Patrick Mullen.
It's now 8 games unbeaten for Neil Critchley's Hearts side as they prepare to take on Rangers this weekend at Tynecastle Park. It's a Rangers side under pressure following that defeat against Queen's Park, but Neil Critchley has assured us this afternoon it has not made any impact to his matchday preparations.
They'll be looking to put that right, and they'll be hurting from that, obviously. But if you look at the games prior to that, they were in really good form and winning games and scoring lots of goals. So we're very respectful of the fact that they've got good players and they're a good team. But we're in good form and we've got some good players, and I like to think we're a good team. So it's got the makings of a really good game.
You'd have to go back to February of 2020 to find Hearts' last victory over Rangers, and midfielder Benny Benigamy wants his players to learn from this recent run of poor results.
Yeah, I think the past experiences have actually been bad. I'll be real with you. I think we got beat, majority of it. So I think for us it's knowing that, okay, like we can get at them, but you also need to respect them in terms of, okay, these are good players, like, and they're there for a reason. Like I always think that the best players, it's their mentality. I know obviously they've got great ability, but it's also the mentality that separates other players. So they're more like they are more than capable of handling that pressure, and most of the best players, they thrive off that pressure. So for us, it's, as I said, respecting them, but obviously not too much respect.
It's Hearts versus Rangers at Tynecastle Park. Kick-off is Sunday at 12 p.m.
Yeah, should be a great atmosphere inside the stadium. Is there going to be another shock in that match for Rangers, or will they bounce back from the disappointment of Queen's Park? So, Ruffy, what's your prediction?
I'm not convinced that Hearts are back where they are. I was saying earlier, I mean, the game against St Mirren midweek, 1-0, they were getting beat. I think Craig Gordon had 2 fantastic saves to keep them in the game, and then they got the goal and won in penalties. So they're not firing on all cylinders. For me, it's all about Rangers. It's all about these players, whether they can banish the nerves and banish what's going on round about them. I think they have got good players in there, so I'm going to go Rangers just to sneak it 2-1.
Okay, I'm going to go 1-1.
I fancy Rangers here strongly, Peter. I think the reason why is that Hearts will come out and attack them. I think you've seen clubs all season, Peter, who sat in against Rangers, they struggle to break them down. Queen's Park done it at the weekend. Hearts will not do that at Tynecastle. They'll come out, they'll try and beat Rangers, and they'll attack, and I think that will suit Rangers down to a T. It'll be like a kind of European away performance, and I think Rangers will win 3-1.
Okay, there we are. Give us your thoughts on that match at Tynecastle. Celtic take on Dundee United on the Saturday and could be 16 points ahead by the time that match takes place in the capital on the Sunday. Brendan Rodgers was speaking today to the assembled members of the press who are still allowed in, and this is what he had to say to them. The schedule has been unrelenting for us. The players have been brilliant. There's been nothing other than focus. We're ready. You have to be. It's not the case if you won't be tired. You will have moments of tiredness, and that's being at a big club. I said to Arne Engels when he came in, his 1 game a week holiday was done. There's no holidays here, and he now knows what I was talking about. Yeah, I mean, that whole leisurely, I'll have a game this week and then maybe the next week is gone because, you know, Celtic's, the demands on them are incredible.
Yeah, and demands are to win every week as well, Peter. You know, the demands are to win, and a lot of players struggle with that at Celtic. You know, it seems to be that the ones Brendan brings in, you know, quickly get acclimatised to the fact that they're playing, you know, maybe Sunday, Tuesday, Sunday, Wednesday, and they need to win every week. So no, I think that Engels, I thought he did a good game the other night as well. He's showing signs that he's getting better, Peter.
Are you warming to him?
I am. I think he's got a great engine, gets up and down. And I think he'll get better as the more he plays at Celtic. He's got real competition in there, you know, for a place, and that will you know, drive him on as well. But I think he's shown in the last couple of European games that he can be a big player and worth that price tag. Yeah,
they might get a longer run if only for the fact that Paulo Bernardo's out for a month with an ankle injury. That's a blow.
That is a blow. You know, he's one of these players. Brendan tends to shuffle the pack, run about 60 minutes in any given game. You know, if he's not on the park, he's one of the ones that are coming on for the last 30 minutes. So that'll be a wee blow. But they've certainly got enough players in there they can shuffle the pack.
Yeah, looking at Dundee United, Jim Goodwin says that he's hoping United can take some lessons from Bayern, how they went about their business against Celtic. So I can imagine Jim's team talk is just basically, if you can go up to the edge of the box at some point and beat the man and then rifle it into the roof of the net, we're on our way.
I can just imagine him doing the shape, Peter, and saying to Greg Dalby, right, you be Harry Kane today. Saying to the wee boy Middleton, right, you be Elise, and we'll get the ball. But yeah,
well, Dalby's done not bad.
He has,
by the way.
I think he's a top scorer in the league. He's been a great signing for Dundee United. But yeah, I'm sure he'd have watched the game during the week. But listen, the different stratosphere of the Bayern players to Dundee United players. I don't think I'm being disrespectful in saying that. But listen, you know what Dundee United are going to do. They'll go, they'll sit in, they'll try and frustrate Celtic, and they'll try and nick something on the break or from a set piece. But I just think Celtic at home very, very rarely drop points, and I think they'll win this. I don't think they'll be. I think they'll have one eye, Peter, on the game. Is it Tuesday night?
Yeah.
I think they'll maybe rest a few players and rotate, but they'll still cruise the game 2-0 for me.
Yeah, again, that's the thing about it. I mean, apart from, and I stand to be corrected and ridiculed at the time, but I thought earlier on in the season, because of the way Celtic were just running over the top of some teams, Ruffy, I didn't see them losing a game for the entire season, because they just looked as if even when they were in second gear against teams, they were still able to get the win. And then obviously Rangers scuppered that whole thing with that Old Firm victory. But they just seem to be in that kind of a business end of the season, know what they have to do, and it could be wrapped up pretty soon, because everybody's focus is constantly on the predicament of what Rangers are suffering at the moment.
Yeah, and the problem for everybody else is there's no any other team with any consistency whatsoever. There's no a fixture coming up where it's just say Dundee United or Dundee and Aberdeen say, well, this is going to be a tough one. They're on a right good run just now, because none of them have been on a good run, you know, against the top teams. They've maybe been beating each other that are run about that bit in the league, but no, they haven't. I think Dundee United, though, defensively are very good. I think Kevin Holtz had a good season for them. I think their goalkeeper, apart from Schmeichel, has been the goalkeeper of the season. Walton, I think he's been absolutely fantastic. I think some of the saves he's been pulling off are magnificent. So they'll be relying on him quite a lot. But, you know, when you've got somebody like Maeda getting rested and Jota coming into his position, it just shows you what you're up against.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what's your prediction on this one, Ruffy?
I'm going to go Celtic 2-0.
2-0 for me as well.
2-0. Okay, I'm going to go Celtic 3-0 against Dundee United. I just can't see anybody stopping them with that one. And then, obviously, the role reversal is them going to Germany on the Tuesday. What do you think of that prediction? Give us your thoughts on Celtic against Dundee United. Dundee Aberdeen. Interesting one this to talk about, because obviously Aberdeen, 14 league games without a win. They've obviously had those 2 cup victories against Elgin and Dunfermline, but there's been changes. The man who has to get taken off, Rubicic, he's been offloaded out of the club to the Serbian Super League, Novi Pazar. Duke has gone already. He's away to Leganes in the La Liga. So it's a change in this Don's side, but are we starting to see maybe there could be a wee bit of a build-up of confidence against a Dundee side who have got a battle on their hands to make sure they're not sucked into relegation, or they're definitely in the playoff mix?
Yeah, I think Aberdeen, the 2 cup games will be encouraging, but I mean, that's not the bread and butter. You know, they don't want to, where they were and where they are now, they want to be, I think the target would be Europe in the league. You know, that's drifting away as we speak. I think Dundee in any given day at home are very, very difficult to beat. They've proved that when coming up against the Old Firm at home. So I still think Dundee, you know, are in a strong place just now. Aberdeen, we always say when the new manager comes in, what kind of players is he going to attract? He seems to be hitting the Scandinavian market, you know, and I think a couple of them might take a wee while to settle in. So I'm going to go Dundee to win 2-1.
Dundee to win 2-1. Well, there you are. What do you make of that, Tom?
Yeah, it's you know, Aberdeen obviously in a terrible run. The cup win, I think, should give them confidence. I think Kevin Nisbet getting a goal will certainly give him confidence to sign the new striker, Daba, Palestinian striker. So listen, I think they've got a few options up front. I'm not surprised Rubicic is out. I think if any player would turn around to a manager and say, I want to come off.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got a future at the club, so I don't know the truth in that, but if there is any truth in that, then I'm not surprised that he's gone. He's not a player that Aberdeen want to keep around the club, and it's a hard one to call. Dundee bounced back from 2-6-0 Hammonds by a real, they wiped the floor with Airdrie. I'm going to go for goals in this to each, Peter. I think Aberdeen can get a draw, but I think their wait for a win will continue another week.
Yeah, I think a draw as well on this one, 1-1 the scoreline.
What did you think of Nisbet's miss last week?
Too casual. I think he was too casual, and he actually done the hard part. He got the keeper lying on the ground and he just got to dink it over him. It's just a shocking miss, and I think Neil Lennon was in the commentary. He was giving him a hammer, but listen, he got his goal at the end. And Kevin, I've watched Kevin for a number of years at Hibs. He's definitely a striker that craves confidence. It works off the confidence in scoring goals. So maybe that goal towards the end of that game against Dunfermline will give him confidence going forward. But he's got to fight his hands to stay in the team now with the new striker coming in.
Yeah. Ruffy, have you ever asked to be taken off? I mean, when the Iran goal went in, did you turn around to Ali McLeod and say, just get me off, this is a nightmare?
No, if I'd asked any of the managers I'd played under to said I want to come off, I'd go absolute belters.
Yes, absolutely.
A few times I felt that.
Ever thought.
I was actually going to say, if you'd asked any of the managers you've worked for, take me off, they might have sold you, which would have been a bonus at the best of times. But
I would have been Chick Charlie mode.
No, that's what I'm
forcing the move.
Exactly.
When I was sitting with Chick the other day,
Yeah.
I was sitting there and I'm going, God, I was at Partick Thistle for 14 years. Why did I not try that? Round about 3 or 4.
What, belting your...
No, just saying I'm rotten. Not just start throwing balls into the net. They say we're going to sell you.
Yeah.
It was a remarkable insight in how to get a move, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do get a chance, do watch the football show from Wednesday. Tam in here with Scott and Ruffy with Chick Charnley. Absolutely priceless stuff. Scott must have been looking at him as if he was a rocket.
He was. I think Scott was amazed at some of the things he was coming out with.
Yeah.
When he was the testimonial for Celtic and he was in the pub and the phone went, his pals drove him down half pissed, didn't he playing a testimonial for Celtic? It was amazing. He was great, Chick.
Yeah, absolutely. Well worth the watch on it. And of course the journos as well this week with Alison McConnell is well worth your thoughts, your views, and of course have a wee listen on the podcast as well if you get time. So to Kilmarnock against St Johnstone, Cara Henderson was down there at Rugby Park.
With 8 games to go until the split, it's an intriguing battle here at Rugby Park tomorrow as Kilmarnock take on St Johnstone in the Scottish Premiership. It's a 3 p.m. kick-off, and of course St Johnstone coming into this game in fine form. Also Kilmarnock, their last game was a victory against Dundee United here. Derek McInnes insists that full focus is on his Kilmarnock team as they try and push for that top 6.
With injuries and discipline part of it, we made things more difficult for ourselves, but we still feel there's enough wins in us to get a top 6, and that's what we're working towards. The motivation's high for us to try and be that. I think we're only 3 points off a 6th place at the minute, but equally there's about another 4 or 5 teams that are saying something similar, so we are in the mix with so many other teams, but we're only trying to focus on ourselves and try and deal with our own business at this stage of the season, and we feel as a squad that there's enough wins in us to try and get that top 6 spot.
A highlight of the season for many Kilmarnock fans has been the performances of 19-year-old Bobby Wales, and with him out of contract in the summer, Derek McInnes is keen to make sure the forward is a Kilmarnock player for the future.
Not any updates other than the fact that we've been trying for months now to try and get a solution, to be honest. We've made it clear to Bobby, his representatives, we really want to work with him. We feel that he's being a Kilmarnock number 9 in the Premier League, he can get so many benefits from that. Gaining the experience, I think the players who have that and are patient with that and do the business, then in time good things happen for them, and we just want Bobby to continue doing that for us in the Kilmarnock strip.
So 3 p.m. kick-off then tomorrow here at Rugby Park, and PLZ Soccer will be here to have you covered, so make sure that you follow all of our channels for all the action and reaction as it happens.
Yeah, great from Cara there, and good luck to her. She's back training, Ruffy, and could be back playing for Partick Thistle shortly.
Yeah, the team have missed her, missed the goals, slipped down out of the top 6, and you need a top striker to get yourself into that top 6, and that's what they've missed.
I don't think Killie will be struggling, Tam, as far as anything in the bottom half of the table. I think there's enough games against teams that I think they can get the results to at least push for a top 6.
Yeah, I think their home form will keep them away from trouble, Peter. I think they're, that AstroTurf, they're always pretty hard to beat down there. At home, their problem's really been away from home the last couple of seasons. If they had the same kind of record away from home, they'd been pushing for up into that European third place, fourth place. But yeah, I think they'll beat St Johnstone. St Johnstone have obviously had two great results back to back in the league. Picking up 6 points, which has put the heebie-jeebies up a few teams round about the bottom. So I think that Kilmarnock will look at this to try and push on up into the top 6. And hopefully they get the young lad Bobby Wales to sign a new deal, because I think the best place for him is Kilmarnock. I think, under a manager like Derek, he's only 19, he's getting opportunities to play. Obviously there'll be bigger clubs looking at him, but I think at that age, 19, you've got to be playing. And hopefully, Derek and Kilmarnock and Bobby can come together and sign a new deal, because I think that's the best place for him, Kilmarnock.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Tam never forgets some of his little catchphrases from his high school days and his primary school, the heebie-jeebies, which people, young people will be wondering, heebie-jeebies, what's that all about?
Just at Halloween you had that.
Yeah, the heebie-jeebies, yeah, a wee bit of that.
Reminds me of the horror cult Jeepers Creepers, ever see that?
Yeah, absolutely. But heebie-jeebies is great. The fear. Simple as that. And the fear might come from Killie fans on the basis that St Johnstone clearly have got a manager now who has got 4 wins out of 4, and they've got Livy in the cup. He's changing it around. I just don't know who to pick for the bottom, relegation, because they are battling, they are fighting.
They are battling, Peter. I mean, the team they got.
He's not having them. You're not having St
You're not having them, are you?
I mean, Motherwell, who haven't won a game for ages, they beat them twice.
Yeah,
Mirren away is a great result, 1-0.
That is a good result.
You're not having it.
He has bought a couple of people on loan for down south, which have made them better than what they were 4 or 5 weeks ago. But I just think, as Tam said, the Kilmarnock at home should win more games and take them out of the pressure. And I think St Johnstone are just too far away for everybody.
Okay. Close the gap, Ruffy, I'm telling you right now. If you look at that, they're 5 behind Ross County and they're 6 behind Dundee. So it's a battle. Remember, once the split kicks in as well, Ruffy.
No, if the split comes and they're only 3 points behind whoever it is above them, then they've got a chance. But I just think that gap will get bigger.
All right, give us your thoughts on it. I'm going to go 2-1 to Killie.
2-0 Killie.
1 each.
Okay. Motherwell against Ross County, no wins in 5 with 4 defeats, and Stephen Frail still in interim charge, although he reckons a new manager is imminent.
Yeah, that's always been the case since the start of last week. The search obviously is still continuing for the new manager, but I've always been tasked with this game. Hopefully things will be more clearer sometime the start of next week, but all the preparations have been from myself and the rest of the staff to make sure we're ready for Ross County on Saturday.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a real uncertainty for the Motherwell fans, but I think the board are showing due diligence here and taking their time, and they want to get the right one, someone who has, I think, the qualities that Stuart Kettlewell had in getting the best out of the squad.
Yeah, listen, they're not in a bad position, Peter. They're still in a decent position in the league. Somebody can come in and really push them forward and try and get that top 4, top 5, which would be a good season for Motherwell. So, yeah, usually you hear little tidbits of managers coming in, but it's all been very hush-hush at Motherwell. Nothing's been leaked out. Nothing's been given away to the press or anybody else. So, as you said, they're taking due diligence and getting the manager in. And listen, whoever it is I think walking into a decent team with some good young players. But I think if Lennon Miller's back, that could sway it for Motherwell this result. I don't know if he's back playing or on the bench, but they've missed him dreadfully. I think he's our best player, and I think I think Rangers, when they drew at Rangers just about the Christmas period, when Lennon got injured after that, it's been a real downward spiral. So I think if Lennon's back in, I think it gives everybody a real lift and they could maybe get a result. But if he's not playing, I think it'll be a draw.
Yeah, I think County might sneak this one, Ruffy, 2-1.
No, I think County are very, very good at home.
Yeah,
they did
3 wins away from home at the start of the year.
I know, but they're a good result again. But I just think Motherwell have got to turn the corner.
Right.
Start winning games. So I'm going to go Motherwell 2-1.
2-1. Okay. St Mirren against Hibs. 13 players out of contract in the summer for David Gray. £7.1 million losses. He's obviously got his work cut out to try and maintain this really good run that they're on at the moment. I mean, 11 games, 3 draws, unbeaten.
Yeah, and the only defeat I think was Celtic away, and they played really well that day, Peter.
Yeah.
You know, they created opportunities against Celtic, and unfortunately the cup draw wasn't kind. You know, you get Celtic away in both cups in the same season is really, really unlucky. But in terms of the league campaign, yep, on a great run of form at the minute. I think it's all changed since the Aberdeen Big Rocky Bashiri's last minute goal. I think the whole place has had a lift since then. He's changed to 3-5-2. They've got a set way of playing. It's not pretty at times, but I don't think any clubs play pretty football in Scottish football, bar Celtic. Are attractive to watch. The rest of the teams are just scrapping and trying to get results. So, listen, they've got a wee bit of pace up front. They've got a bit of dig in the middle of the park. They've got guys in the wide areas who can get crosses in. You know, they've got somebody with a long throw. I think Nicky Cadden's got a long throw. So they're adapting to the Scottish League, the Premier League, Peter, and that's why they're getting results. And they're going to come up against a team who are very similar. Play 3-5-2, get the ball forward. They've got a long throw. The wide player, I can't mind his name, he's got a long throw. And listen, this is going to be a real tight game. Whoever kind of matches up on the day and plays better will obviously win the game. But I think Hibs are capable of going there and keeping the run going and getting a wee 2-1 win.
Yeah.
I'll go for Hibs to nick it 2-1.
Hibs.
Both teams have got real pace in the forward areas.
I think that's a good thing for David Gray that so many of them are out of contract.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
It's a clean slate for him.
He's a clean slate. It means he can really sit down with a piece of paper and just put the players that he doesn't want, the ones he's got to clear, and the ones he's got to clear will be easier to move them on, and you can actively then try and bring in the players that you do want to.
Yeah, and of course, but the other thing is, you know, in the market he's dealing with, Ruffy, you have to hope they gel. You know, sometimes if you spend 11 million in Engels, you think he's eventually going to come good. There's something in him. You can see the potential. You always get the odd one that can cost a lot of money in Scottish football. It just ends up being so poor in the return for their money. But
you're looking at the tie-up that Hibs have got with down south.
Yeah.
You know, you like to think they'll be tapping into that. You know, and the sources they'll be using. That so if they can get so many out, you maybe just need 4 or 5. You know, I'm not saying all from who they say.
Yeah.
But he'll want to bring players in that he's seen.
Are you going for Hibs for the win?
No, I'm going to go 1 each.
After all that build-up,
Yeah, 2-1 for Hibs, Peter.
Yeah, 2-1
I think
for
it
Hibs.
is good for Hibs that we've got the players out of contract, because if those players want to stay at the club, they're going to have to be busting a gut to prove that they're capable of being at Hibs next season, and that's going to hopefully translate into good performances for the players individually and collectively as a team.
Yep, I'll go 2-1 Hibs as well. Saints back-to-back losses, knocked out of the cup against Hearts, albeit it went to penalty kicks.
The big thing now, Peter, is Celtic for me look odds on to win the Scottish Cup with the Rangers being out. Whoever finishes third this season is guaranteed the Conference League.
Yeah,
It's
who do you think is
guaranteed.
finishing it?
I
Go on, give us your line, because
I've said Aberdeen, didn't I?
Yeah,
I've said
you-
Aberdeen.
you
Give
sticking
them
with
I need to stick with them. I
going to stick with Aberdeen?
I don't like change my mind halfway through, Peter.
Are you kidding me?
No, I don't like change my mind. I'll go for Aberdeen, but I think Hibs will win the mix. And the Celtic obviously winning that, I think will win the Scottish Cup, win the treble. I think whoever finishes third is going to get £4 or £5 million guaranteed, and that's massive. When you see some of the money that Hibs has been losing.
So there's no opening for anybody in the runners-up in the Scottish Cup?
No,
No, just the league.
If Celtic get
Celtic
there.
win the treble, the team that finishes third are guaranteed group stage, at least the conference.
Give us your thoughts on that. We've got lots more to discuss on the programme after the news.
Hi there, I'm Kerry, and here is your daily news update on Friday the 14th of February, brought to you by Arnold Clark Rewards. Buy a car, download the app and get rewarded. Kilmarnock striker Bobby Wales has highlighted what his and the Rugby Park outfit's targets are for the season ahead.
Top 6 is what we want to thrive on, but personally I try to get as many goals as I can, many starts as I can, but that's just for everyone. Everyone has their own individual, and that's what mine would be being a striker.
Motherwell's Andy Halliday underlines just how passionate Scottish football fans can be when it comes to their team getting a good run of wins under their belts.
With passion comes emotion, so there's a lot of reactions after games, good and bad. If you win a game, we'll probably get said we're going to win the league next week. So I think that's just all part and parcel of the game, and that's what I personally love about Scottish football. So you've got to come to expect that at times as well.
Finally, on the Journal show this week, the panel discuss whether Philippe Clement's run in Europe has bought the Gers boss time in the managerial seat after Rangers' shock Scottish Cup exits.
Did the Europa League campaign save him this week?
Absolutely did. I also think finance is kind of elephant in the room. Do you think if Rangers had the money, Philippe Clement would still be Rangers manager?
It's a hard one because I think Patrick Stewart has wedded himself to this strategy of he's not going to be a knee-jerk chief executive.
For all the latest breaking headlines, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, and don't forget to download our app, which is available on Google Play and the App Store.
Yeah, it's a good listen and a good watch, the journos, and you can catch Alison, Gordon Parks and Hugh McDonald talking about, of course, what we were discussing at the top of the programme. Is it the straw that breaks the camel's back? Will Philippe Clement still be the Rangers manager if they lose at Hearts on Sunday? Or is it just a case that Tam and I believe that they will see him out to the end of the season before possibly making a change? When you look at the overall picture, his run in Europe, what they can do there, and over and above that, how far they're going to finish behind Celtic. Can they cut the gap, or will it be extended? Give us your view on that as well. I've got to say to you, I mean, a lot of people talk about it, and I think good players are not affected by it eventually, Ruffy. But again, Celtic Park proved that in a European night, the atmosphere is absolutely electric. It is unbelievable. And I think it's certainly one of the best grounds for that atmosphere in a Champions League night.
Yeah, I think whoever come up with the idea of the flashing lights and everything that has won a watch, and there's no many other clubs do that. I mean, a lot of clubs have fans.
So you like flags, you like the big flames, and you like the lights.
I think the flashing lights in the Champions League night is superb, the way they control it.
The reason I mention that to you, Ruffy, is obviously we've got a mini documentary coming out on the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park between Everton and Liverpool. Blair and myself made the journey down there to Liverpool.
Two nights?
Tuesday and Wednesday, Tam. It was absolutely magnificent. The city, it's my favourite.
Did you see David Moyes? Did you get a chance to chat to him? No.
I actually didn't get a chance to chat to him, but I got a chance to chat to his brother and his dad after the game. But as far as the overall atmosphere is concerned, not a patch. And I've been to Liverpool-Everton games at Anfield. Not a patch on Celtic Rangers.
No, it isn't. And we said the same, Peter, when we went to Liverpool Rangers a couple of seasons ago.
That's right.
You know, Rangers had that, obviously, that full away end, and Liverpool's a big night, obviously, but I just didn't think the atmosphere was anywhere near as powerful and as loud as Parkhead at Ibrox on a European night. I think we are probably the noisiest stadiums in Europe, you know, in terms of European. You know, you see at Ibrox and Parkhead when the stadium's rocking, fans get behind the team, and that's why, you know, you see players playing out their skin sometimes and playing, you know, out with their abilities in Europe. But yeah, you're right. I just don't think that any atmosphere in England is really comparable to the atmospheres up here.
Yeah, and the other thing about it, Ruffy, I mean, there was no shortage of contention in it. I was so delighted for David Moyes on the basis that they had 41 wins each out of the 120 games played. So this could have edged it in favour of Liverpool as they leave that grand old stadium. But Tarkowski's equaliser brought the roof off the place because the Everton fans went completely and utterly mental. And as you and I like from time to time, what makes a great derby? Rotten defending and a good old punch up at the end. And that's what we got.
No, I thought the goal just summed up a fitting end to Goodison. A goal like that, you know, is something that the scorer will always remember, and obviously the Everton supporters will remember as well. I thought it was a terrific goal, scored at a terrific time.
Yeah,
not for you, obviously.
Yeah, no, but to be honest with you, Ruffy, I was in the Everton end and I was not jumping. But nevertheless, I was delighted for David because, I mean, they absolutely love him. They're cheering, chanting his name. They think it's a great move that David Moyes is back at Everton. And I have to say, Tam, driving past Bramley Moor Dock, the new stadium, is on a different level. I think Everton in the next 10 years will be a major force. 58,000 fans, increased revenue. It's looking bright for them.
Yeah, I think they made the right call getting rid of Sean Dyche. I think that a lot of people at the time, eyebrows were raised that he was doing okay, but David Moyes has took them forward again. Peter, they're well out of relegation trouble now. You know, they've picked up a lot of wins, great result against Liverpool, and yeah, we were down. Obviously, they were just starting building it. We didn't really see it. We've just seen infrastructure, but obviously now it must be near completion for them to move into. So it was massively important for Everton to stay in the Premier League, which is why they got David back. And I think that David will be looking forward to spending the next couple of seasons, hopefully, in that new stadium.
Yeah, and the other thing about it, Tam, which is good, when you get a fight at the end and the fans are on the pitch and they're all going mental, there's flares everywhere, everybody's fighting. Curtis Jones is laying into Doucouré, and Arna Slot comes on and lays into the referee. No government inquiry and the introduction of a new law.
No, it wasn't. They just got on with it down there. But I watched the last 10 minutes of the game. You know, I was flicking it back and forward for the Celtic game, and yeah, I thought that it was a great finish to the game. And one Everton fans will always remember that didn't want to go out on the last derby at Goodison getting beat for Liverpool. So that's a huge goal for Tarkowski and for his history at the club as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Arna Slot, maybe now you get the feeling he regrets coming on and telling the referee what he thought of him.
I think what happened was that the extra time, intentional 5 minutes that ended up being 8. There happened a lot, and the emotions got the better of me. And if I could do that differently, if I look back at it, I would love to do it differently. I'm hoping to do it differently next time as well. But what has exactly been said or what has happened, I just told you there's an ongoing process. And I don't want to disturb that.
Yeah,
he's right, Peter, because they always say it's a minimum of 5 minutes added on. Really? I think a lot of people maybe get that mixed up with it's a maximum. See if this is a minimum of 5 minutes.
Yeah,
they can play 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's always a minimum. So I think that's something that maybe supporters just think, oh, you've played 5 minutes, blow your whistle, but it's at the referee's interpretation. They can play as long as they want.
Absolutely. And the longer it dragged on as well. And of course, the other thing about it, Rafi, I just feel it's only right that we mention this. Their new set piece coach is Charlie Adam. And I'm dying to know when Charlie said, listen, get the ball on the left-hand side, just punt it into the box.
See on the partner up and that goal in.
And see if somebody can rattle it into the roof of the net.
Yeah, I'd love to see the technical side of that, what they do, because when we played, it was just pick up the biggest guy who comes into the box.
Yeah, absolutely. Or the number 9 called Kane. Anyway, here's the English Premier League fixtures for the weekend, if you like your English football. It is Brighton, Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Ipswich, Fulham against Nottingham Forest, Man City at home to Newcastle, which is probably game of the weekend, apart from one other one on the Sunday, Southampton, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Everton, and then on Sunday, Liverpool, Wolves and Spurs against Manchester United. The meeting head-to-head at the Tottenham Stadium of two ranked rotten sides.
Yeah, it's two managers probably under pressure at the minute. I know Ruben Amorim was just in the door, but they need to start picking up points just to make sure they're away for that relegation zone. Tottenham been ravaged with injuries, but they need to start picking up some wins as well. Ange's under a bit of pressure as well, so listen, I don't think it'll be 0-0 that game, put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Richard makes a great point when we're talking about some of the great atmospheres. Richard says the atmosphere at Man City against Madrid was non-existent. Well, on the Tuesday night, we went out in Liverpool to watch that game, and honestly, if you're a Man City fan, they've only got one song, unless somebody's going to tell me differently. They've got Blue Moon and then maybe an Oasis song. It's not great, is it?
No, I've not been to Man City, but a lot of people do say that it's not a great atmosphere. Maybe a lot of tourists, a lot of people go down and watch the games. A lot of schools that I work at are down there all the time, taking kids down. I'm sure it's the same with other schools elsewhere. It's not really a great atmosphere, a great stadium to get an atmosphere.
Yeah.
And listen, I think that places like Anfield and all that would blow.
Yeah.
The Etihad out the water.
Well, if you think about it, of our 4 big clubs, and possibly 5, I would say there are 5 stadiums where in Scotland, if you've got a winning team that's regularly winning, you get a great atmosphere. Celtic Park, Ibrox, Easter Road, Tynecastle and Pittodrie.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
They're really rocking, it's absolutely fantastic. But then again, you need a half-decent team to generate that noise from the stands and the fans. We got one little thing to talk about before we go, which was just released earlier today, not that long ago, to be perfectly honest with you. There's a new cooperation system and Challenge Cup format approved to accelerate elite player development in Scottish football. I wonder if I can get your thoughts on it. You guys, the SFA and the SPFL have implemented this new system for Challenge Cup format for season 25-26. And it's basically to try and enhance youth player development in Scotland, Ruffy. So it's something that the clubs have passed, and it's going to give them hopefully a chance.
A certain amount of young players have to play in it.
Yeah, this provides a greater flexibility to the domestic loan quotas by enabling players in the key transition phase of 16 years of age to 21 who are eligible to represent the Scotland national teams to join a lower league club, but be able to move between the parent and the cooperation club throughout the season to try and increase playing time, because the rule before was you were stuck there.
Yeah.
You know?
Listen, I know that they've been thinking long and hard on it, the SFA, to Andy Gold's in there, and they're trying to, they're not happy with the amount, the quota of Scottish players that's coming through. It's been pretty damning. You've seen it in this season. There's not a lot of Scottish players coming through and playing in the Premiership. So they've got to do something. This is obviously the start of it. I think if you can stay at your parent club and then go and play in a Challenge Cup game, I think it'd be a great benefit. I think myself going out on loan and playing against adults, playing against experienced professionals, both playing with them and against them, it really brings your game on. So I think the pro youth system, kids playing against kids is not working, and you need stuff like this where you're going out and you're playing against men and good professionals in the dressing room. So I think this is a good thing for Scottish football, and I hope that the Scottish football public gets behind it.
Yeah, the new setup will include William Hill Premiership B teams in a league phase format, Ruffy. So that again will provide opportunities for the youth players aged 21 and under to go through that huge learning curve that we're talking about, making that jump to senior football.
Yeah, I was surprised when they scrapped reserve team football. I know the financial side had a lot to do with it, and then the bigger clubs wanted to go into the Lowland League. I don't know why they didn't fancy that, why they started pulling out of that.
Rangers, I think, are disbanding their B team.
Yeah.
The other day they're going to, kind of revamp their youth setup.
I think it's good that a league of elite players, when you're playing against your own people that you're trying to break into a team, is very, very good. But
I still think there needs to be listen, anything that gives young players, Ruffy, the chance to play against older players and play with them to go through the learning curve. I mean, I think it's the greatest act of stupidity that this country embarked on over the 20 years. The dismantling of that structure suddenly got you to a situation. If you're in any job in life and you've got an experienced person guiding you through it, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, the funny thing is, even a rubbish player like myself and playing in all these charity games, when I used to have Jim Duffy behind me, I just had the cigars out because he just used to talk you through the entire game.
I think the good thing about it is they've got to keep the younger players who have doubts about making it into the first team. You've got to give them something, to bite on, a competitive game. I see there was another young boy for St Johnstone who's only 16s went away down to England.
Yeah, brought it there.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to think of a reason how to stop that. Our clubs have got to think of a reason, and maybe playing competitive football at that age, against better players would be a reason for younger players to say, well, I'll maybe just hang about here. Maybe there is a chance of getting in the first team.
How do you stop it though, Tam? Because quite simply, I mean, you're saying there, Bobby Wales at 19, stay. I mean, a championship side could just say to Kilmarnock, here's £1 million.
Yeah, it's difficult, obviously, the younger players now. I've spoken about it a couple of times with the Brexit rules now. A lot of English clubs are looking up here. They're looking at 15, 16-year-old, and they can stockpile them, Peter. They can stockpile the best players at St Johnstone, at Motherwell. They can go and pay 200-300 grand for them. It's nothing for them to go and come up here and sign 6 or 7 players. The clubs, Hamilton Accies, another one who've sold a lot of younger players who haven't been getting in the first team yet. That money keeps clubs like that alive. So it's difficult when you've got kids and you've got parents who've got the carrot of going to the Premier League in England and the money, the wealth that brings, to say to them, well, wait a minute, hang about, maybe in a year or two you'll be in the first team here.
And then they sign a foreign player.
And then they'll go. So I think it's difficult at the moment, and that's why the SFA are trying to bring stuff like that in, to try and get younger players playing at a first team level. But a lot of your young promising talent is getting picked up by clubs in England who are happy to pay 200-300, as I said, to pay 200-300 grand for him. All it needs one.
Yeah.
You just need one to come through, and that pays for the rest. and it's difficult for parents and players to knock that kind of money back.
I think Kenny makes a good point here on our feed, and he says Celtic should be starting more youth in the Premier League against the likes of a St Johnstone or Ross County. You're 13 points ahead, there's no excuses. You know, throwing on, and that's something that they, and it wasn't too long ago, I'm not talking about a bygone era here, I'm talking about managers who looked and thought, right, okay, we've assessed where we are in the league, we've assessed where we are in the table, are we safe, are we going for something, we can throw on a youngster and give him 10 minutes at the end, and it's invaluable.
That's how I made my debut at Hibs, you know, towards the end of the season at Hibs.
Against who?
Against, my first start was against Hearts in the last game of the season. Yeah, Hibs were safe, had nothing to play for.
How many minutes did you get?
I played for the start, I played like 70 or 80 minutes, and that was because Hibs were in a safe position. It was and Alec McLeish thought, yeah, you're ready for it, but there's no pressure on me to throw some kids in. Ian Murray played as well.
Did anybody talk to you through the game?
Yeah, it was Colin Cameron and Darren Jackson who both took turns and walloped me.
Yeah. I was actually asking if was any Hibs players who just helped you through.
Yeah, it was Yogi Hughes.
Yeah.
Yogi Hughes. It was Yogi's last game for Hibs, and it was my first start for Hibs. And Yogi said to me before the game, you know, get on the ball, don't hide.
Yeah.
You know, we believe in you and stuff like that. And the manager was the same. But if that was a game where Hibs had to win to get into Europe or Hibs had to win to stay up, I wouldn't have been playing probably.
Yeah.
So
do you like Yogi Hughes?
I love Yogi. Yogi was great at Hibs. He was my manager at Falkirk. He didn't really play me, so he's got a black mark against him there. But I've got a lot of time for Yogi. He's a good coach and a good guy, a good person.
Because last week I met him at Easter Road, and he always comes up and says hello, and I says, "Are you coming on the Footballers Football Show?" And he went, "Is that with Tam McManus?" And I went, "No chance." So there you are, custard pie from Yogi. But again, he's another one of those players who, as a manager, he wanted his team to play good football, Ruffy.
Yeah, I thought he was hard done to at Wraith Rovers. I think he came out and told everybody what he felt, you know, and it went against him with some of the directors that were there. And I can't believe, I mean, I don't know if he's been for any interviews for jobs that come up, and I can't believe he doesn't get interviews because he's very inspirational, you know, in what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to so many people for talking in our feed there and just mentioning all the topics that we are discussing on the programme. We really do value your support on the programme. And of course, if you can't watch it live, some people do it just before they're finishing work, then you can watch it at your leisure. Don't forget to share the feed with your friends, like, share and follow us across all our social media channels. And of course, you can catch us on TikTok with all the best bits. And if you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, you'll get all that unique video content on a regular basis as well. Right across this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, our reporters will be out at the games, bringing you reaction from the managers and players as the games unfold Saturday and Sunday. Is it going to be a bounce back week for Rangers? Certainly all eyes will be on Tynecastle on the Sunday for that. And if you want to follow it all, you can download the PLZ Soccer app, and all the breaking news will be there at your fingertips. Good to be back in the chair alongside Tam and Ruffy. Don't forget the preview. Tam and Ruffy are back head to head with Kerry Pollock tomorrow morning on the Saturday preview show, and they've got the big quiz as well. I wonder which one of them will eventually come out on top in the big quiz with Kerry. You can find out on our YouTube channel as well. We leave you with, of course, Ruffy always wearing his Maestro top, red, blue, green and black. You can pick your favourite team's colour and get it. It's good for sporting days out and a wee bit of leisure as well, Ruffy, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is, for the gym, and the golf course, or at the bowls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. The great thing about this, the training top, the Maestro training top at the bowls, there's no chance of you sweating in any capacity whatsoever with that. And actually, I can feel a gag coming on there, Ruffy, but I'm not going for it.
Don't.
Thanks to Ruffy. Thanks to Ruffy, thanks to Tam, and from myself, Peter Martin, thanks to you for watching and listening, and we'll leave you with how you can get your hands on some of our great Legends t-shirts and Maestro tops. Thanks for watching.
The PLZ Soccer Shop is open for business. You can purchase one of our stunning line of Icons t-shirts featuring legends of the game from across the world. Designed by award-winning artist Jim Scullion, they are exclusive to PLZ Soccer. Our Maestro training tops are ideal for sport and casual wear in the colour of your favourite team. From Pirlo to Pele, we've got you covered. Visit the PLZ Soccer shop now by clicking the link below.